3 years ago, we had a captain from Logan Fire that died from cancer. And so there's a big memorial and ceremony where your name gets put on a wall out in Colorado. We were able to help arrange all the travel for his wife and 4 daughters to go out there and be a part of that.
Do you remember a couple weeks ago I did a home inspection on the apartment building? There's a kid passed away, suicided, and that morning. And so we went to go and do a home inspection. It's like a 36-plex.
Sometimes the guys that seem to have it the most together are the ones that are hurting the most.
Yep.
That's why I love being on the peer team with the department, is they know it's an okay place to talk, and just like, I just need to come unload.
And just like that, we kick off another episode of the ADHD Express podcast. Brent, a long time ago, we decided not to warn people about the audio spike because people get nervous and they sit here and they don't know what they're going to say. And then he does that and they forget all about their nerves. So we like to always talk about that, you guys. And today also is kind of an exciting day. It's our very first time going live. So for those of you guys who are joining us live, I don't think we have anybody yet, but when they kick on, we have one. Awesome. Hello. I know who it is. It's Brock. What's up, Brock? Hey, I told him he was going to, so we're working on a real estate deal on the side. So he was just here. That's awesome. Okay. So also right now is the great time to point out, you guys, if you haven't done this yet, jump online and subscribe, right? Go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and follow and like our channels. Help us keep this thing going and help us pick up some more sponsors. So as always, we've got the Osmond brothers joining us.
Hey, yo.
Okay, and then we've got a very special guest today. I've got my dear friend Brent Harding. Brent has had a journey. Your life is just a journey. And everybody think he's like, no, it's not, dude. Yeah, this guy has been through a whole bunch of stuff. He started with making stop motion Lego videos. I've seen them. And he was so embarrassed. And I'm like, that's the coolest video I've ever seen.
Those are in the deepest archive.
Yes, so. One day they're going to come out. We're going to see if he'll give us a link and we're going to throw one on this channel. But yeah, so then he's a firefighter, EMT extraordinaire. And then he started an amazing video production company. In fact, he did a bunch of the videos on the old Carlson Inspection website that are now over a decade old and really desperately ought to be redone. In fact, I remember a funniest detail. You won't because you've been doing this forever. So one of the guests I had come on was Robert Brown. He's a broker for real estate, and we're going to get him on the podcast. He doesn't want to come on the podcast, but he's going to come on the podcast. But he wore so Brent had them in front of a green screen. Do you remember this? And Robert showed up with a plaid shirt with green stripes. And he would vanish in the camera. And so the video is really, really hard to watch. Because he I don't even know the effect that it did.
Yeah, it's like a more a...
Do you remember that now?
Yeah.
He was like,
thanks a lot, Robert.
Yep, that's the hardest thing you've ever had to edit. Well, anyways, there's a little bit of introduction. Family man, fire, EMT, video mogul, almost. He will be one day.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
His burning desire is to produce an Avengers movie. Is that still one of your things?
Not anymore. No. I mean, it would be cool to do as my own passion project, but
yeah,
it's like a fan film, They're not tied to...
Well, after my book is written and we're going to make a video out of it, why don't you help us do that one?
Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Well, anyways, why don't you take a minute? And I kind of ran through some of that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of some of the things you're working on?
Yeah. So I'll just kind of maybe start where I am today and we can work backwards from there.
Yeah.
But, today I have 3 kids, an 11-year-old, 7-year-old, 18-month-old.
Right in the thick of it.
My wife's a nurse in the ER part-time. And then I run a couple of small businesses, the video production business, a business called Screen 33, which is an event space, and also run a nonprofit foundation for firefighters. And then I work full-time for Logan City as a firefighter.
Yeah,
so
you got a lot of brands in the fire. That's awesome.
So yeah, there's
so can I tell you guys, I want to tell everybody about Screen 33 from my perspective. So it's this huge, it was like a warehouse, was a shop type thing. They've kind of closed up garage doors, and he has a 33 cubic foot. Is that where the 33 comes in? The cubic foot screen?
33 feet. So you measure a TV corner to corner.
Yes. So he has a 33 foot screen in there. And you could rent this space. We did it for my son's 14th, 15th birthday, I think. We rented it out, and he's got the driving simulator chairs that move, and you're racing on a 33 foot screen, or you're out there doing Mortal Kombat with people that are 10 feet tall. It's incredible, like an lights, the speakers, you can shake your feelings out if you're not careful, and
yeah. If you feel like puking, I got a couple games of
it. Yeah, so that was just some really, really cool stuff, and when he joined my BNI Weird, it's almost like I say that half of my episodes. Sorry, the BNI is, in fact, I got to get Cameron Thorne. I'm having Cameron on this next month because I've referenced BNI so much, we got to get Cameron on. But anyways, so yeah, we met through BNI, and Brent was that was starting with the Rescue One Studios.
Yeah, just barely. So I think at the time I started BNI, I was living in my parents' basement.
Yep, I remember this.
And we had one vehicle between me and my wife, and so at that time too, I had a little 700cc motorcycle that became my go-to.
That's
so she could have the car for work and stuff.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, one of my favorite early stories to tell. It wasn't fun at the time, but it's fun to look back on.
Yes, it is.
I had a shoot in Salt Lake, but my wife had to have the car, or our truck at the time. But so I had to take this little 700cc motorcycle down to Salt Lake with
full of gear,
a backpack, like a big hiking backpack full of gear,
$20,000 worth of camera
gear. Oh my
gear.
gosh, that was the scariest ride of my whole life because I'm like pegged at like
I
65. I was like, either the motorcycle is going to fall apart or I'm going to have somebody run me over. I don't know what's going to happen first.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Made it down there on like $7 in gas and it was perfect. So.
Best part about motorcycles right there.
Well, and that's, you know what, you guys, like we always talk about on the show, like we always want people just to give a little bit of the vulnerability, like talk about the hard time. Because right now it's easy to see you in your dope truck that's all vinyl wrapped and rims and gadgets and, you know, all this cool stuff. But like, it doesn't start that way. You know, like I've had people tell me the same thing. Oh man, it must be nice. It's like, what, to go in 150-degree attics 3 times a day, every single day, all summer long? Like, or you mean to walk on that roof?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. Lucky.
Well, and actually, so just got back from a film shoot in Wisconsin where we got to film Dan Katz, Big Cats.
Oh yeah, really?
And so he was speaking to a group that we were involved with, and so we were there filming that. But I really liked one of the things he said about that because he kind of told his story, and but he talked about the lucky bounce. Because in sports, it's like sometimes the bounce just goes your way, and there's nothing. Like it's like a 1 in a million, it's like no one could have predicted the football was going to bounce that way or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he like talked about his journey and, of course there's lucky bounces along the way that, but the other side of that is these guys that are there to catch the lucky bounce. Are you in shape? Like if the lucky bounce comes your way, are you in shape enough to run 100 yards and have you put in the drills and the practice to capitalize on that opportunity? And so, like, I have no doubt that there's been plenty of lucky bounces in my journey where, it had nothing to do with me or my control or whatever. I just had a couple things go my way. But then there's the other side. And I think that's important to recognize because you got to stay humble. And I hate the people that are, well, hate's a strong word. Yeah, but it's hard to be around people that just feel like, man, they're so deserving of everything they have.
Right.
And it's like, come on. Like, I don't know. You wake up sometimes, it's like, man, I feel pretty lucky where I'm at. And I think that's an okay feeling to have. But you got to recognize too, there's a ton of hard work, a ton of blood, sweat, and tears that go into being ready for that lucky bounce.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned the lucky bounce, and honestly, it brings to mind because we've talked about, the local Engel Volker's real estate office, Jet Youngblood. She's the top realtor in Cache Valley, has been for many, many years. When I started, right, when you're not working, you go market, right? You go knock on doors. And I probably marketed to that woman for 2 to 3 years, and she had her home inspector. Now, you talk about the lucky bounce. Homeboy retired. And I had spent 3 years beating on that woman's door trying to get her to give me a phone call for her work, right? And then so when she was like, well, guess you lucked out. And I was like, I just thought that was my lucky bounce. And I had done the work. Like for years, you guys, I marketed this person who never really would even give me the time of day, and then all of a sudden, and still to this day, I'm her home inspector. So you know what I'm saying? That lucky bounce is legit, dude. Yeah, you got to be in the spot. You got to do the work.
Yeah.
To be ready to catch that ball.
And then, then also you realize that there's been plenty of times where, the bounce doesn't go your way, even though you did all the work and that's just part of the journey too. And there's some people that, and you look, it's fun. Like I love the stories of like the McDonald's guy or it's like his lucky bounce didn't come till he was like 55, 53 years old or something. And he'd been working his butt off the whole time. Right. And it's not like he didn't deserve it earlier.
No, it's just
that lucky bounce didn't come.
So, we actually just had a guest on, an artist, and he was similar. He talked about, oh my God, now I'm going to ruin it. What he said, Lance. Remember, he was talking about, he didn't use the phrase the lucky bounce, but he was, the genius, the spirit of genius, right? Because he was talking about how people are like, oh, you're a genius. How'd you do that? No, none of us are genius. You get visited by the spirit of genius, right? You have a stroke of genius. And so, like, right?
I like that. I wasn't there for that.
You were
but
there
I like
for that one. Yeah, that was brilliant. I was like, wow, that's such a powerful way to look at it. Because if you tell, like, the reason that, and he was referencing an article that he had read. The reason that a lot of our musicians and some of these famous people are so into the drugs and suicidal and they're ODing and stuff is because everybody's like, imagine having to carry around the burden of being a genius all the time. You're not, right? Like we think about Albert Einstein. Is Albert Einstein a genius? Everybody says yes. Well, really, if you look at his life, he had like 3 or 4 moments of genius, and the rest of it, he was just some kooky wacko doing weird shit. And he just happened to have a couple of lucky bounces.
Yeah.
Right? Or was visited by the spirit of genius. Right?
Yeah.
Had a stroke of genius, as they call it.
With Albert Einstein, what's the craziest thing is like he was never wrong on a lot of his things, but there was one time where he created this equation for the galaxy of how it was expanding and everything like that. And he put this thing inside of the equation in order to make it so that it would work. And he called it his biggest blunder. Like he said, that is my biggest blunder. Then years later, when they found out that the universe was expanding and growing,
they found out that it wasn't his biggest blunder.
They found out that was the only thing that made it work. And turns out that his biggest blunder was calling that his biggest blunder. And it's crazy to me all the way
Stroke
through.
of genius and intellect. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's one thing my dad always said. You know, I'm always right. You know, Dad's always right, except for this one time when I was wrong because I thought I was wrong, but I was actually right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, that's his
Yep.
biggest blunder.
That's perfect. So can I ask, what got you into videography?
Yeah, so that's back to the Lego stop motion. So I blame it on my mom. She got me my first camera when I was 8 years old, and I just never recovered.
Yeah.
So,
Well, dude, actually, that's something because, like, honest to God, I was not into this. I remember when we met, and I always thought it was so cool. But then I started getting into this, and he convinced me to buy a mirrorless DSLR and all this kind of stuff. And now it's like I haven't bought a gun. I'm like, there's all these things that I'm like, I could either get a gun or I could get this cool camera that clips on the brim of my hat and I can do stuff. You know. So you're right. It's like, once
I guess I'd say it probably took me. So I've been doing it for almost 12 years now, a little over 12. And it probably took me 9 years to get out of the honeymoon phase. Because you just want to buy all the latest stuff. But man, I can't even, it's been a long time since I bought a new camera because it's just like,
you probably have a closet
at this
full of
point,
them.
I'm like, I'm over it, like the latest. And I want to make sure I can give my clients what they need. But at the end of the day, it's like, I can do what I need to do with what I got. And I'm not looking to, you know. That way I can buy one more, I can bedazzle my truck with one more thing.
That's right. That's right.
What camera brand what camera do you use?
So I use Canon C300 for my like main workhorse. And then I use a Sony mirrorless for some B-roll and just like a little
They just
action cam.
get that B-roll so clean.
Yeah. No, and that's been a good little combo. And I've used that for probably the last 4 or 5 years now. So.
Cool.
Wow. Dang. And so the other thing is the not Rescue One Studio. Oh, I totally just forgot. I'm sorry. My brain.
Screen 33.
Screen 33, the nonprofit or
oh, no, that's not the fire stuff.
Yeah, so Screen 33, that's the event space. And that's really all we did. So when you have a studio, generally you have a white cyc, right, which is the curved white wall. Mm-hmm. And so we built one that was pretty big when we moved into that studio. And then at the time, Next Audio Video, Gary, was one of our clients. And so we had this huge white wall. And I can't remember how it got started, but we were hanging out or doing something. And he's like, dude, let me bring down one of our demo projectors. Let's just see how it looks. And he threw it up and I was like, oh my gosh, like that looks so good. And it's not even like because there's like special paint and stuff you can use for screens. And we just had we wanted it to not be shiny, and usually like screen paint, you want it to reflect light, so it's a little brighter. Ours is just like a good film against kind of white, but it looked so good and clean. He was like, dang. And so we ended up doing a little trade work, and so I could get one of these projectors off of him, and and I still have that projector running. It's not even a 4K projector. It's
wow.
but it looks so good, and
does
people
look so
love
good.
it. And so that's where it started. That was the first piece to the event space. We weren't using it as an event space at that time. We were just kind of using it for ourselves. We'd hook up an Xbox or something after we were all done editing for the day, or
Yeah.
play a couple rounds. And then over time, we just kept adding little pieces. And well, we've only been using it as an event space for the last 3 or 4 years, but it's like, I can't remember the last time you were there. It's probably changed a lot, but
Probably.
it's pretty decked
been a
out
few
right
years,
now.
yeah.
So it looks very much like a event space rather than a refurbished garage like it used to. But anyway, so that's that space. And then our nonprofit is called the Firefighter Support Foundation. And that was just stemmed from, so I play a large role in with Logan City's fire department on their peer support team, which is the team that comes in and helps crews or individuals on the department after they've had a particularly rough call, or if they're just got some personal stuff that's affecting their work, really. And so that's been a great. I love the fire department. I love the peer support team, but man, there's just this need for more than what the city, because the city. Anybody who's ever worked in anything government, like there's so much red tape, and to get some things done, it just becomes hard. One of the things I found with the city is, like, if a donor wanted to come in and give something to the fire department, it was like a really difficult process. Wow. Like if you went today and said, "Hey, I got 25 grand, I'd like to donate to the firefighters." Like, okay, well, it's like this almost more of a headache for them to make that, because they have to go through all this stuff, and then you don't want it to end up in like the city general fund. Like if you want it to specifically go to firefighters, and then they have to be so careful. Like if you're a business owner, like not making sure they're accepting this money in trade for favoritism, or there's just some, and I get it on the city side, like they get scrutinized more than your business will ever be because they are a city, and so they have to be so careful. But at the same time, I was like, we need a vehicle to, like, if you have 25 grand for us, yes, we will take that. Venmo, whatever you want, and so that was the initial reason to set it up. And then we've built a website and just some other things just to streamline some resources for our guys to get some individual help. So we have like all of our clinicians for guys that have been personally vetted by one of the firefighters, because can't send these guys just anybody, like we want to make sure they're a good fit for the fire culture. And so we'll vet some guys and put their info on there. We've done like over 100 fitness videos with gear at the stations, that just to show guys different workouts they can do. There's like stuff on ice baths and saunas and nutrition. And then we have like some resiliency training. And so we've kind of housed it all on this website. And then the foundation just helps keep that going. And then as we do get funds coming in, then that goes back to, we got ice baths provided for every station.
Oh, cool.
And so that's been a huge benefit to the guys. And then the money go, like we had a firefighter get injured last year. And so while the city's very good and firefighters are pretty set up to, for the most part, to be helped when they get injured, especially if it's on duty. Like his wife had to take a bunch of time off work to take care of him. So even though he was still getting his check and getting taken care of through the fire department channel, like with her work, she is not getting like the paid leave or whatever. And so we were able to come in as a foundation and help with situations like that. Anyway, another one, probably our biggest thing that we were able to help with, which is really cool, is 3 years ago we had a captain from Logan Fire that died from cancer that was specifically tied to his he's pretty young. So anyway, he ended up getting on the list of a line of duty death because it was just tied to his firefighting work. And so there's a big memorial and ceremony where your name gets put on a wall out in Colorado. And so we were able to help arrange all the travel for his wife and 4 daughters to go out there and be a part of that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And not just like, and this comes back to maybe some of the business side, but like sometimes the original plans for stuff like that like blows my mind. Like they had them on like 3 connecting flights, and just like here's a nonstop. Let's fly them out first class. Like these guys just lost their dad, you know.
Right.
It's
Let's try to do something for them.
Let's make this a VIP trip for them.
Right.
So and part of it's the VIP, but part of it is just ease. Like this shouldn't be a difficult trip. Like let's just make it as easy as possible. And so stuff like that, we try to jump in on them.
That's cool. Right. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I sent you a text message. The guy we had on Tuesdays has a cool EAP program that they sell, which is all mental health programs and stuff. And so he might be a good one for you to talk with.
Yeah. We're always looking for people that are a good fit. We figure the more options we can give guys for clinicians, come in and talk to, the better. Because not everybody's a good fit. Even if they're great for one guy, they may not be
absolutely
best fit for the next guy.
It took me a couple of years to find the therapist I liked, and then I coached her ass into quitting.
Man,
it's okay. She's doing awesome. We had her on the show too to talk about. In fact, we decided our last guy we're gonna start doing some panels where we'll have like my therapist, we'll have Brett Bullock on with the accident policy. Then we're gonna have Taylor on to talk about the mental health plans, and heck, maybe you might be another good one to be in there. Again.
I'm always willing to throw my hat in the ring.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it's cool. He's got a podcast that he runs too for firefighters talking about the same stuff. He didn't mention that, but I knew that. It's fine. You got a lot. It's okay, dude.
That's what I was trying to think of earlier.
Some of it's hard though, because like, dude, like honestly, like I did a home inspection for a guy yesterday, and it was with a girl who's actually going to be on the podcast next week, who has a podcast. She's the one that is at 21 episodes, and she wants to quit because she's frustrated. And I've been trying to build her up and be like, no, you're almost there. Like you guys got to keep pushing through. But anyway, so the guy was measuring stuff, and so she and I started talking. I was like, hey, I found an editor, we were chit-chatting. And the guy's like, well, what's this all about? It's like, oh, well, we have podcasts, He's like, well, I know she. Anyway, so then it just like, it started talking about it, and then it's like, and this. Oh, yeah, and this. Oh, yeah, and this. He's just like, wow, you got a lot going on. You're like, yeah, I'm aware. It's like, it's almost embarrassing to talk about sometimes, because then you're like.
It's like, if you have so much going on, you forget about parts. It's like, it's probably time to start like that.
Well, and like, so yeah, and you forget details that that don't matter. Like my wife was all frustrated. I remember a couple weeks ago, I did a home inspection on the apartment building. There was a kid passed away, suicided, and that morning. And so we went to go and do a home inspection. It's like a 36-plex. So they, you go walking in and you're like, oh. And like, anyway, so the mom, they were literally like, the mom was there. They were waiting for emergency services to show up. Like it was like just shit timing. And awful for the family, but like then I didn't think about it really. Like you go about the rest of your day, like it's just kind of life. And then that night, my wife and I were going out to dinner, and I was like, "Oh yeah, craziest thing happened today." And she was like, "There's no way." She's like, "You would have called me and told me about it." I'm like, "It's been a busy day." And so I ended up having to actually call the realtor to be like, "Hey, she thinks I'm making this up," and he was like, "Oh no, he ain't making it up. It happened." And then she's like, "Brian, this is a problem. You're too busy." She's like, if something like that doesn't rank high enough to like for a phone call, like, well,
it's just always something to grab attention.
Yeah, it's just life. Sometimes it just be that way. Yeah.
So what started the podcast?
Well, to be honest, like that was one of those, and to put it into context, like our podcast, our audience that we're going after is like the 60 members of our department. So we're not necessarily like trying to take over anything. There's lots of firefighter podcasts out there, but part of the fire culture is it's such a close, tight-knit group, right? That you love hearing stories or like networking with other guys, but when it comes sometimes to talking about like the health and mental wellness and stuff like that, like you don't want to hear that. Being in Utah, I don't want to hear how the FDNY guys do it. We're not that. This is way different out here, and so we just thought, well, let's start one just for our guys, and it'll just be kind of local Cache Valley kind of guys. And before that, like I could count on one hand the number of minutes I've spent listening to podcasts. So, like I was just like, well, let's do it. I know it's one more avenue we could help reach the guys, and then. After our first couple episodes, like there's such positive feedback from our small audience. It's like, well, if this is helpful, if this is the way people want to absorb the information,
people really like it. Yeah.
And so we're, almost to that 21 episode mark, but ours is, like I said, it's a little different game because we're not trying to market or like necessarily track all this stuff. Like we just want it to be impactful for our guys. And funny enough, though, like once it's out there, it's out there. And so we have gotten feedback from people like firefighters in other states and stuff that have been referred to it through a friend of a friend or just came across it and found it helpful. And so we figure, that's great. Well, we're happy to help as many guys as want to be.
What's that podcast called?
It's just the Firefighter Support Podcast.
Okay. Yeah, we can make sure we'll have that stuff linked on here as well when we.
And we just talk. It's just fire guys, and we'll bring on experts sometimes, like clinicians or like a nutritionist or whatever every once in a while. But we try to keep everything relevant to how it applies to firefighting.
Yep.
So, but we talk about all the topics, parenting, and balancing that with shift work. But at the same time, like any parent could probably pull value out of that. Talking about getting burned out, and then of course we try not to make it too graphic, but we do talk about some of the traumatic calls and just dealing with stuff like that. And my personal opinion on it is where, because the firefighters, like the average person in their life will experience one or two traumatic, like life-changing kind of traumatic events, either be a witness to or be closely involved with in their lifetime. Firefighters are going to be exposed to over 700 in 20 years.
Wow.
So, that's just something that can't be ignored. But I also feel like it's something that gets put as, in the fire world, we call it a distracting injury. You show up and you got this really bloody leg, but really they have a collapsed lung. But you're so focused on all the blood coming from this leg that you start bandaging their leg, and it's like, hey, you've got a bigger problem, and so you try not to get tunnel vision, something like that. And in a lot of ways, I feel like in the fire service, we've gotten a little bit of tunnel vision on the traumatic events because it is so, I don't know, headline worthy. It's like, okay, we went on this multi-vehicle accident with several fatalities. Like, let's talk about that. But the reality is, what guys are experiencing the most is when they get home and they're distant from their spouse and or their kids are giving them the same problems everybody else's kids give, but just one more piece of baggage, right?
Right.
And it's like we got to start focusing on some of this other stuff,
right,
to really help guys have the balanced life, because not everybody's built to be a firefighter, and so we're dealing with guys that chose to do this, that are here for a reason. Like they can handle the calls, like that's not the issue, right? But let's help them handle this other stuff in their life. They may be built to handle those 700 incidents, but maybe they're a little bit of weakness in their dad skills or whatever, because they need some help transitioning from being on shift to getting home.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? And so let's not spend all of our time just talking about these crazy calls.
Yeah.
We need to go into the other stuff too.
Yeah, that's true. Dang. That's that light work. We talk about being ready for the bounce, man.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's all of it. And the thing of it is, Matt, just not enough of this stuff is talked about. It's all swept over. Like, you got to prepare for things. I mean, you have to, whose mind isn't worth digging into? Yeah. Trying to unpack, see what sets you off.
I think that's why it became so popular with our guys on the department so quickly, is because sometimes you talk about it with some of your closest buddies on the department or whatever, but for the most part, you see a guy and it's like, man, that guy's got his shit together.
Right, right.
Like,
oh, absolutely.
He's got life figured out. But then he comes on the podcast and he's willing to talk about some stuff, and everybody's like, oh man, it's okay to feel burned out, or it's okay to maybe, you love the job, but it's okay. You're going to have moments where you question, like, man, should I even be a firefighter?
Right, sure.
But you don't want to tell anybody else that, because everybody seems to be loving their job all the time, because it is an awesome job. But to hear like how normal of a feeling that is helps you handle it. And it's okay to feel that way for a moment. Let's get you out of that feeling so that you can enjoy the job like you used to.
Yep. Dang. Yeah. Well, that's the analogy, ducks on the pond, right? You don't see the feet cranking or the iceberg under the water, right?
Yeah.
Both of those analogies are the same thing. That dude who's got it all together, he's put the work in, to have that appearance, and it's not the same inside his mind.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't see it. He's just more.
Well, and
stoic.
sometimes the guys that seem to have it the most together are the ones that are hurting the most.
Yep.
And so it's been that's why I love being on the peer team with the department. Is you kind of in our position to be the guy that guys can come to, and they know it's an okay place to talk because you're not their captain. You're not like, this isn't going to affect any promotional stuff. Or,
Right.
Like they just need somebody to come talk to that's not a clinician. That's not their spouse, not their.
No, you're right.
And just like, I just need to come unload. And so it's been good.
It is. It's absolutely fabulous.
Dang. Was there any like particular reason that those things stuck out to you when you first started, or did they stick out to you when you first started firefighting, or did it just?
No. When I first started firefighting in 2007, I was barely like 18 and 1 day old, and I was totally in it for the adrenaline, for the chicks, for all the wrong reasons, and so it's actually, that's funny you asked that because when we were listening to that Dan Katz a couple weeks ago. That's one of the things he said. He's like, man, if I would have had this kind of success when I was 22, I was like, I'm pretty sure I would have ruined it, And and so in the same light, because what happened to me is in 2007, all gung ho, like my dream was to work for Logan City full time as a firefighter. But back then it was this huge process. Like Logan would have like one spot open, and 100 guys would show up for the test, and it would be 2 or 3 years for them to work through a list to maybe get to you. Like, and so especially hard. If you're new, like trying to break in, it's like, man, this is a tough job to get into. And so it was during that waiting process where I started the video business trying to pay bills, while I'm waiting to go full time. And you're testing with lots of departments, lots of lists, and but it's a multi-years long process. And it just, by the time any of those opportunities came around, the business is kind of taken off. And so I thought, but I was volunteering with North Logan City. And so I was like, I'll just be a volunteer and keep my hand in it that way. And so I did that for 10 years. And so it was only about 4 or 5 years ago that North Logan City got merged with Logan City. Mm-hmm. And so all the volunteers, if you wanted to keep doing it, had to come over as part-time employees, which they were just requiring 20 hours a month. So I was like, I can still make that work. I'm not ready to hang this up yet. Mm-hmm. And then I think that's how they got you, because now the recruitment for fire and first responders in general is way different. So like we have a test for Logan City coming up, and there's like 3 or 4 spots open, and there's like 12 applicants. It's just a different world. It's crazy, today.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I remember applying when there's like 200 people applying for one job.
Yeah, it's crazy. And for a job that's like, hey, at least the hours suck and the pay sucks, but you're going to love this job. And for those parameters, you have all of these people that want to do it, and that's just kind of changed over the years. But when they took over, me and one of my best friends went over as part-time, and he had another job. He was making 6 figures, and then they came to us like a few months into the part-time thing and like, hey, if you guys want to go full-time, all you got to do is sign here. And I was like, this is not how it should be. Like, and it was so hard because it's like, I don't know, full-time is a huge commitment,
Yeah.
And but after talking with my wife and me and him, we're talking, he actually jumped first, and he was like, so he took a position. So I was kind of living proxy through him. And
is that John?
No, his name's Tyler Scriver.
Oh, okay, I don't know him.
And then a couple months later, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. My wife told me to, it's just like, if you don't at least try this, you're gonna regret it the rest of your life.
Right.
Like, this was the dream, And in my eyes, Logan City was always like SEAL Team 6. Like, that is the department I want to be on. Anyway, so that was 4 or 5 years ago, and and so long answer to the question, but I feel like if I would have gone full time back in 2007, I don't know if I'd have the same perspective on firefighting that I do now, because I had 10 years of doing it as a volunteer, being a business owner, and just seeing all these other sides of life and coming into it with maybe a little, not much, but a little more maturity. Has helped me a lot to appreciate the department and the work we do more than guns blazing, running into burning buildings, and everybody thinks you're so cool, versus, seeing it truly as being a part of something bigger. and just a fundamental community service that it's so much not about me whereas when I was 18 it was like I had to wear my fire shirts everywhere, make sure everybody knew that I was a firefighter. So that was a long answer to your question, but that's essentially it. Is I think timing, that was in one sense the lucky bounce there, is that I didn't get hired on right away. So my life would be totally different, and now like we have so many, so the studio and the event center is also our resiliency center for the foundation and for the fire department. And so like it probably gets used way more for the fire department and first responders in the Valley. We've gotten tied in now with a lot of police in the sheriff's office. And,
good.
And so there's like AA meetings happening there all the time. We'll have clinicians come and we'll do like group nights where everybody brings their spouse and can get some training, and and then of course plenty of socials. I'm big into that. There's like the most important thing we can do for each other is just human connection. We don't necessarily need to go through any textbook stuff. We just need to be together off duty. Yeah. And there's so much good that can come from that. So we'll get together at the studio and watch a UFC fight up on the big screen and just get guys together, or play cards or, and just have a cool spot to hang out where we can be together. That's, guys can just let loose a little bit and get to know each other without, the stress of about to go on a call every 5 seconds. So,
yeah.
Huh, that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I didn't realize that was kind of growing that way. That's fabulous.
Sounds like things kind of fell into place just how they needed to really make the impact.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. Like I said, it's like that lucky bounce. Like you could plan it,
Yeah, right.
But
Never
you're just
works.
working your guts out the whole time, and whatever seems to come your way, you just try to take advantage of. But yeah, like now, it's hindsight's 2020, and it's always easier looking back. Like I wouldn't change a thing, and there's been plenty of ups and downs, and with how it's worked out today, and I never would have had the studio, never would have had some of these resources to be able to make available for the stuff we're doing now. And if everything would have worked out like the way I wanted it to back when I was 18, 19,
Right.
And so, for that, I'm really grateful,
right
but no, I think I'd be in jail actually.
That's funny.
Where did Screen 33 come from? Like just the name?
33-foot screen.
So 33-foot screen. So I mean, not to brag, but it's 397 inches, which is slightly, but 33 sounded better than 397.
Yep.
I like it.
Plus, being in the fire service, everything has to have a number in it. Just sounds cooler to me. Rescue 1 Studio, Screen 33. It's like, 'cause that's how we run, is you got Truck 120, you got Truck 70, Rescue 71. And so naturally sounded cool to me.
Yes, it did. Yeah, you got to go with what you got, man. I love it, man. I think it's great. That's really cool that it's kind of phased into this way to give back and help. That's so awesome. Like that's what's so critical right now. It's so important and it gets received. Yeah. Right? like
and it's hard, because sometimes you'll throw an event or something and you're trying to help and you don't get a big turnout. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, we're just doing this to give people an opportunity. And if it's, if we helped 1 or 2 people today, then great.
It was worth it, right?
Totally worth it.
Yep.
So flashy things and whatever, like you want everybody to think you're doing so good, even if it's I'm on, like, I'd never admit this at the time, but man, there's been plenty of times early on in business where I was on like payday loans, which is a terrible
way to go
thing. Like, and if I was just stupid, but I didn't know I had other options.
Right.
I was just, ready, fire, aim.
Yeah.
Trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's been my motto for most of my life. Ready, fire, aim.
A 500% loan. Like, I could make that work. Like, let's do it.
Yeah. Happens. Well, we were just talking about that with leveraging. I did a HELOC that was an APR and I'm paying for it now. That's why I'm selling a property, is just to unload that thing. So it happens, man. Like you do those things and
but you push through and
it's all helps you kind of like, right. There's a million analogies, right? Diamonds are formed through heat and pressure.
Even if the heat and pressure came from your own
it doesn't matter.
Those are the ones that burn the most.
Yeah, those ones that burn the most.
Hey, that's all spice business. Like It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
I think, the value is being able to extract whatever lesson you can, no matter how the circumstance came about.
Yep.
Right. And so, because, there's circumstances you're totally embarrassed because it's so preventable and anybody else in their right mind wouldn't have done it that way. But it's like, regardless, I still learned something from it and I'm going to extract whatever value I can.
Well, and that comes to a whole new thing of this is about mentorship. Like that's kind of everybody needs a mentor of some sort. And everybody's like, well, that's not me. Yeah, it is. You've done, especially if you've done something really dumb, like if you can pass that information on to a younger person or an inexperienced person so that maybe they can learn the lesson without the scar. And a lot of us can't, there's, and I hate the saying, people are always like, well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make you drink. Yes, I can. I'll tie that sucker down. I will salt his mouth and put a bucket of water in front of him and he will drink. He or she. So yes, I can make a horse drink. But like a person, you can't make a person make wise decisions. You cannot force them.
That sounds like a good YouTube episode right there. We're gonna watch Brian make a horse drink
water.
Let's prove it right now.
I'll find a horse.
Okay, yeah, right. I don't know that I like how this is going. I've been bit and kicked by horses. I have not. Give me the tamest, most calm geriatric horse in the world. No, but you can't. I mean, really, you can't do that with salting them. You can do that kind of thing. That's good.
Well, and with it's kind of coming back to some of the mental health stuff with the fire department and the other side we've had to I wouldn't say fight, but educate on is like as a paramedic or whatever, when you go to help somebody, regardless whether they want the help or not, all the interventions you're about to do will help them whether they want it or not.
Valid.
Right?
Yeah.
We're going to hold you down if we have to. We'll get this IV going. We're going to push this medicine. Your body cannot refuse the benefits because it's a physiological thing, right? And so sometimes we approach mental health topics the same way. Well, we know this principle is sound, and so, but it doesn't work like that.
Nope.
That's brain science too. Is like you have to choose. Like that's the number one vital ingredient to making mental health stuff work. Is the recipient has to choose to accept it.
Yep.
If they don't, you can give them the best clinician in the world with the most charismatic, whatever, and it's just not
going to do it.
Not going to do anything until that person. And so
is willing to change.
Our shift has come from, we'll provide the opportunities for them to absorb information the way they want to. But the best thing, like our mission as a peer team, is what can we do to help them choose to accept some of this stuff? And sometimes I'd say most of the time it requires way more listening than talking, and we come out of the gate so amped about mental health stuff because we learned something that helped us and you're so excited to share it. But the reality is it doesn't mean jack shit to them.
Nope.
And so until you've given them an opportunity to share something and then when you can present something, they're in the best spot to be able to choose to listen to that information. Whereas you come out of the gate and they just choose to believe that you're overzealous, helpful, Yep.
It's like that it can't work for me kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
And they just put up a wall, and
it's crazy because the best way that you can get somebody to think is to talk with them, right? Because as humans, we naturally don't want to think. Like we say we think, we call that voice that's inside of our head our thoughts, but oftentimes thought requires two parts. One that's critical of what's being said and the other one that isn't, the one that's throwing out the ideas. And that's why conversations work. But a lot of the time they get caught in the either throwing it out or in the locking it down. Like, oh, that's not possible, until you start talking with people. Once you start talking, then they start putting out the points and then you're like, oh, well, what about this? What about this? And then they are able to fully picture what's being said and understand it to a point where they can make an informed decision. Whereas an hour beforehand, not even close.
Yeah. That's spot on with some of the stuff we do with traumatic calls, right? Is the best thing. Like there's a physical connection that happens with your brain when you're forced to articulate. And so whether that's through writing or speaking, right? Because some guys don't want to talk and that's totally fine, but we encourage them at least write down, the experience, and just, it doesn't matter. No one has to see it. It's just going through the process of putting your thoughts to words about what happened is so healthy. And sometimes that's the only remedy you need, because just like you said, by the time you're done doing that, your brain's kind of, okay, we've got to start with a capital letter, ended with a period. We can now box that up, compartmentalize it here. Now you're good to move on. But if you never do that, you never talk to somebody or never write it down, then it becomes this unprocessed memory experience that can live in your brain for decades and creep up at times and you have no idea where it came from. You may not even remember the call anymore, but the symptoms that come from that last forever until you process it.
The score.
So, yeah.
It's crazy. It's why one of my favorite rules is it's one of the 12 rules for life, and it's don't hide things in the fog. Like, because as soon as you put something into the fog or you try to ignore something, that's what a lot of times is said, just, oh, forget about it. Like, it's over, things happened. But when you don't think it through and you don't do that processing, it just becomes like the whale in the story of Jonah, right? It swallows you whole and then brings you down when you least expect it, when you least need it. And then it makes it so that it's impossible for you to be able to catch the ball, right? Because you become either hyper-focused on that or it takes you out at the moment that it's being passed to you.
Yeah. And, it happens all the time because sometimes guys will have like a big call and you go through the proper channels or whatever. And some guys don't seem really fazed by it. And that's normal, like once you've done it long enough. But then 2 days later, next shift or whatever, you go on and it's a much smaller call that shouldn't have affected you, but all of a sudden you feel like, damn, like something's wrong with me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that shouldn't have impacted me, but I'm feeling it, but yeah, I think it's that, because it's not just that call, something else is involved there, and you got to start processing that shit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and Taylor was talking about he was kind of the same thing, wanted the girl, so he got his fire cert in EMT and worked, and he talked about a call that was really bad, and he never recovered from it, and actually had a lot of issues, quit, all that thing, but that's what led him to working in the mental health industry. This is like, he realized, yep, that I'm not built right. He's like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
So
well, and that's such an important thing to recognize too.
Dude, you have to.
It's like, yeah, you can't assume that you can do everything and all the things, and that's part of our mission statement with what we do as the peer team too. Is we're not here as like the coddling service.
Yeah,
the guys, like, really, you took an oath. Like, this is bigger than just like you do a cool job. Like, you took an oath to put the public's life first, and so our number one job as a peer team is to make sure you can keep your oath.
Yeah,
and if you get to a point where you can't keep that oath anymore, then that's okay. Like, but we can't just keep you here,
right?
Because like this group of guys and girls has committed to this oath, both legally, like it's a legal thing as much as it is a ceremonial thing, that you're willing to do this, and we need to know you're ready to go, you're mission ready,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
it becomes a different approach, is it's not like you're broken, it's not like you're, like we tell guys all the time, you're like, there's less than 1% of the world that's taken this oath. And so that's a pretty special group to be a part of. And so, of course, you're going to have resources to help you stay mission ready. We're just one of those resources to help you keep going, because we need you.
Right.
We need this 1% to take that oath and keep this service going.
Right. Yeah, because without it, man, oof.
I love that you pointed out writing as one of the things too, because one of my favorite books is called Rising Strong by Brene Brown. Are you familiar?
Familiar with, it's a lot of Brene Brown's work.
She has a thing called SFD, or a shitty first draft.
Yeah.
And it's just because oftentimes when you write things down originally, when you're still in the moment or still in the feeling of it, it looks like a third grader wrote it when you look at it the first time, and you're like, oh man, did I really feel like that? And then you're able to process and think it through. That people don't realize the value of understanding ourselves. Like, we think we know who we are. We think we know what we understand. We think we know what we comprehend. But in all reality, we're just moving through it and reacting to what our system is doing.
Yeah.
But making that distinction and being able to lay it out on the table and understand why you are or why you're feeling the way you do creates an incredible, not just connection with your body, but a incredible ability to not let past result dictate future.
Past experience dictate future results.
Yeah, that's what it is. I love that quote from him.
Yeah, that's a good
Sounds like you need to expound on that a little bit. Let's learn more about this.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just a saying that I use is like, don't let past experience dictate future results, because it's really easy to like look at the past, and especially in business is where I use it a lot more, is like working with business owners, because a lot of them just look at their past things that have happened and like, oh, the business isn't doing good, we're not getting enough people in, like, you know, they look at all the problems that they've had in the past and just expect that that's how it's going to be, and they can try and do something about it. But like a lot of them get stuck in a space of it can't be any different. And so I don't know, I use that all the time of like, you know, if I'm looking at something and I start thinking of it in a way like that's not possible or this isn't going to go right if I do it, then I know it's because I'm letting the past experience dictate into that future, because it's easy to do, you know. And I don't know, for me it's just something that I use a lot, because I don't know, getting away from that is huge in being able to move forward, because it's always going to be different. Like the future won't be the same as the past. The experiences, the variables, the thing that play into it are always different. So just not like use it as a reference point, but not a determiner, you know, something that can determine how the future will be.
Yeah, I love that.
It's crazy because when you think about it, like, why did I just forget the person that invented the light bulb?
Edison.
Edison.
Yeah.
I almost
We
said
all forgot
Einstein.
briefly.
I was about to say Einstein, but he failed 100 times. But it was that 101st time that he got it right. And now, like, we have lights all throughout this room, and it's everywhere and in everything. But if he had just given up at that 100 mark because he paid attention to the 100 other times that he failed, he would have failed in failing, right? There's no such thing as failure unless you stop. I love that part.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
totally
he said,
agree.
he found 100 different, is it
100
ways
ways
that not to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
So where is that streaming live at?
YouTube.
Oh, just on YouTube. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought it was on Facebook as well.
Yeah, it will be. It's
Okay, not yet. Okay.
not yet.
How do I find it on there? I just kind of want to see it. Sorry, as you guys were talking, I was like, how do I find it?
You jump onto our YouTube page on one of your other accounts, and then you can it should be the top one.
So I'm curious, was there an experience? So you've been doing this kind of like to help the guys. Was there an experience that you had that made you feel like this was something that needed to be done? Like, what was the trigger that made you really like start pursuing this and creating all of these things? I mean, you have like 5 different things. It sounds like, you know, like what was the trigger that caused that?
Well, I think like some of my biggest scars from the fire department were early on when there was no program, you know, and Logan Fire has one of the longest standing, most known peer support teams in the state, if not the West. So like we had a couple of our guys that went out to Miami when that apartment building collapsed. They responded to Maui with all the fires
cool.
to do the peer, like we have a couple pretty big players on our department that are strong advocates for the peer support and mental health side of things, that have kind of put us on the map a little bit as far as Logan Fire. But back in 2007 and through the volunteer world, it's like there just wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of online resource, like just everything was. And I had one of my, and I labeled it a long time as like my worst call, around like almost right out of the gate, you know, and I don't know if I'd label it. I mean, it was still up there. It was a multi-vehicle crash with multiple children fatalities. So, I mean, it doesn't get much rougher than that as far as like, you know, if I were to go on that when I go on shift this week, Like it's still super rough.
Yeah.
But now with all the tools and resources that I have, there's no way that would impact me like that first call did.
Yeah.
First time being exposed to something like that. And so that lived with me in a negative way for a really long time. And I think like anything, it's just like a weed that, and it didn't have to be that. And I guess that's part of where the drive came from is
Yeah.
it's like, you don't have to live with the guilt or the nightmares or the constant like flashbacks or whatever. Right. And sometimes you'd go like 2 years without having like any thought of this call. And then I'm buckling my kid in the back seat of the car. And it just happened to be this exact same position. I was reaching in the car for that. And I'm like, this is like years later and I'm right back.
Yeah.
All the feelings, like it's as if nothing's changed.
Wow.
And it's like, the fact of time heals everything. I think there's a little bit of truth to that, but I mostly think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because it maybe can shift the feelings a little bit. It's not like you're miserable the entire time. Like with time, you can kind of bottle up a little tighter and tighter, but it's not gone away, right?
Yeah.
And so then getting the right tools in place and the right resources in place, it's like I can think about calls like that now, and it's just not the same. I feel much more resilient
Yeah.
than I did when I first started. And so I think part of the drive came from that. But part of the drive is because when I started with Logan Fire, they already had this team. So it wasn't like they had nothing. Like, and I just wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys have this team. I recognize the benefit. Just
Yeah, and you're probably
put me in, coach. Let me, like, I want to do it.
Yeah. But you're a pretty dynamic portion
So-
of that team. That's awesome.
And so, the team's changed a lot over the last, 4 or 5 years, but it had a great foundation to start
Sure.
from. And one of the best members of the peer team that goes to Maui and is now our fire chief, which is so awesome because usually that's your main roadblock is admin that doesn't understand the value and they're trying to balance the economics of
Yeah.
and all those, but where everybody knows like he's our biggest advocate.
Yep.
And so that's been really
That's awesome.
helpful to have him in the chief position and just brought that much more recognition and validity to what we do.
Mhm.
The rest of the guys and new hires that come on is the chief is so passionate about it.
Yeah, that
And
makes a
just
huge difference. It
huge
makes
difference.
huge difference.
Have you seen a huge difference
Wow.
since when you started working with fire at 18 compared to now with all of these things that you've helped put in place?
Oh yeah. So like I think the first time I talked to somebody about my worst call wasn't until probably like 4 or 5 years after it happened. And where I just
dang.
had to talk to somebody and just be like, dude. And it was a super close friend and that was on the fire department. And I just took him out to lunch. And I just remember I was like, I gotta just like, I'm kind of embarrassed. It's just like, the whole thing for me on my end was encompassed with shame. Like, I shouldn't feel this way. Like, I love this job, but all these feelings make me feel like I shouldn't be a firefighter, And so I didn't want to share it with anybody because I didn't want somebody else to think like, oh, dude, you should go get a different job. Like, don't kick me out. I want to be here, And so I had to really have somebody I trusted and is like, a little nervous going into it. But then once I talked to him and he's just like, dude, that's totally normal. Like, we all feel that way,
Every once in a while.
and I just, man, like that, just that little conversation, even though he didn't have any training, he wasn't on the peer support team, but just hearing from somebody I looked up to and trusted say that he's had the same feelings. And he's like, oh yeah, that's your body's just reacting. It's like a hot pan, it's like, cause I told him like something about some of my flashbacks. And I was like, just so weird. And I feel like that makes me not
Right.
mission ready, but he's like, no, it's just your body. Like your body went through this crazy thing that you're not supposed to see on a regular basis. And so, if your brain clicks into that moment again, it's like your hand's hovering over a hot pan. Your brain's now sending off all these alarms. And he's like, it's just normal. And then I can't even remember what else he said. I just remember that one thing. But after that conversation, I just felt so much better about like, okay,
Yeah.
I can do this. Everybody, no one talks about it. But at least I know if this guy's feeling this way sometimes, I know everybody does because he's the toughest son of a bitch I know.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and then from there it's just doing that in a more productive way where guys didn't have to wait for like to reach out 5 years later.
Right.
And so I guess how it's changed the most now from then is like now it's so accepted to talk about it, and we have so many avenues. Like for example, like we have several new hires, and they go through a year of probationary firefighting where you're passing off all these skills, and it's a stressful time because you can pretty much be fired for any reason during that first year. But after that year, you're kind of locked in and part of the crew. And anyways, but with our new hires, because that's when the biggest scars happen, is what all the data is showing, is when you're exposed to these things and you've never seen it before, but you're the new guy, and so you don't want to complain about it to anybody. So you just kind of, and so we've tried to resolve so much of that to where, like, for two of our new hires, like I'm their specific mentor for their first year, not for fire skills, not for anything other than like, how are you doing? Like,
That's awesome.
like, how are you really doing? And so like one of our guys has probably seen more dead bodies in his first 6 months than all of the other new hires combined. Just his unlucky bounce, right? Like just the way the calls have gone. And he is such a good firefighter and a good person and a hard worker, right? And so it's like, unfortunate, it's like you don't want to see that happen to the new guy like that. But he's had all these avenues. We've talked about them, and I know that he feels totally comfortable reaching out if he does have something. But at the same time, we've given him so many resources. I'd almost dare say it's just been a non-issue.
Yeah.
Like he's had all the tools already. He hasn't had to search them out. He has tools to do it privately, openly. And so it's like, that's the way to start a career.
That is.
If in this career, like you hate to be exposed to that much that quickly, but having all the things in place. So that's changed, I'd say, dramatically since.
You fixed the part that wasn't in control, that you did have in control, but so then the things that you don't have any control over aren't as hard. It's like building the ark.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so incredible, man. That's awesome. I love it. So that is also our hour for our podcast. It goes that fast, you guys. And this week was great. We had a whole bunch of mental health stuff. And for those of you guys who are watching this or gonna watch this, like if you are in a mental health crisis, you don't have to be one of these 1% of the heroes that we have here. And I know you guys are embarrassed when we call you that, but these 1%ers are out here like saving our lives and doing the stuff that nobody else can do. And they've got the great resources. But there's also other mental health issues out there, you guys. And like, don't be ashamed of it. He's talking about the shame that he felt. And it was like, so we all hear that and we're like, good Lord, makes my problem seem like dumb. The kids keep leaving the lights on at night all throughout my house, So, but real, some of your stresses can still be there. So like, I think if anything, we learned today the value of mental health, man. It's huge. If the toughest guys that we've got are going through it, the rest of us have to be going through it too. So find some help, reach out to it. For those of you guys who are wearing the blue, rocking the uniforms and the badges, it was the Firefighter Support Podcast.
Yeah, so you can find it anywhere you find podcasts, or you can visit our website, which is just firefighter.support. And like I said, it's geared towards firefighters, but
there's going to be some
all firefighters still yell at their kids for leaving the lights on. So, right. We all struggle with those things, and all that stuff's on there too. It's just got a little more of a firefighter theme to it.
Well, and then for the more on the pleasant side, you guys, if you just need to get out with that person and have some fun, come rent Screen 33 and let's play some video games.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah,
you guys, Brent, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to doing this again next time. I think we are going to do probably here next month or maybe in August a panel of mental health, and I think we're just going to bring you back because you just bring a lot to it. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. And then for the couple people who joined us live, thanks you guys. I'll actually promote this a little bit better next week on all our social media so people actually know that we're going live now that we've had it work and we had no glitches today.
No glitches.
So awesome. Thanks for joining us.